What's going on? You're tuned in to Pin Drop Discussions. This is Tyler Parker, and you know what we have in store for you today. A great show. It is Fearless Fridays. Yesterday, we had an amazing show with James Black. It was a live show. It was on Facebook. It's on YouTube. Actually going to work on combining and condensing the video so that we have one cohesive video to put out for you guys, and we really hope you guys enjoy that. I am actually in the process of editing that video, so that will be released by next Friday at the latest, and the audio will be released by next Friday at the latest. It's going to be in two parts because the entire interview is about 1 hour and 30 minutes in total. And we're also going to have him come back on the show again. We're going to start talking about some sports culture. And it is also St. Augustine University's homecoming week. Just wanted to point that out. And yes, I am a current student of St. Augustine's University. I'm enjoying homecoming week so far. I was blessed to be able to host a pre-homecoming talent show with my good friend and vice president of Intellectual Social Club, Ty Peterson, and it was amazing. Just, seeing some of the events that are going on so far here on campus are looking fantastic. This is looking like a campus that loves to be alive and loves to have fun and loves to just mingle. It's looking like an HBCU. I know a lot of people don't understand what an HBCU experience is like. So why don't you guys come on out to the talent show that we have tonight? Or why don't you guys come on out to the football game we have tomorrow? It's going to be some tailgating. We're going to have a good time. We're going to turn up. And yes, it's a black cookout, and you are invited to it. So come on out. So today we're talking about the importance of love, and we're going to talk about romance. And, today is Fearless Friday. So what I'm going to bring up is the gambler's fallacy, confirmation bias, and loss aversion. And we're going to be talking about these topics in the aspect of staying in a relationship too long. And we know everybody's been in a relationship too long. So there's a point that you come to in a relationship when you know that it's time to go. These elements, the gambler's fallacy, confirmation bias, and loss aversion. And these are situations that we typically face in a relationship when we realize that it's been a long time. Yes. So we're going to get this started. I'm going to start with a quote. And only those who dare to fail greatly can ever achieve greatly. And that's by Robert F. Kennedy. Sometimes in a relationship, you're going to come across those moments when you feel like you've given all that you can, or you're going to realize like, hey, I can dig a little bit deeper for this relationship. So there's always, two sides of the coin. You have to be aware of yourself, and you have to be aware of your partner. You have to be aware of your strengths and weaknesses. You have to be aware of your partner's strengths and weaknesses. Now, pre-dating, pre-relationship, you're, doing things to better yourselves, to get yourself prepared to have a healthy relationship, because you want to have the best possible setup to have a relationship. And, I'm kind of in that phase now. I'm like, I think I want to date, but also I know that I'm not ready to date, because the last relationship that I had, I know I needed to take some time and readjust and prepare myself for the next situation so that I can be more prepared for emotional stability. I can be more prepared for financial stability, social stability, mental health, all of those elements that we talk about. Those things go into a relationship, because now you're not only dealing with yourself, you're dealing with a whole nother human being. And if they're lacking in one area, it's not that becomes your burden, because dating somebody should never be a burden. Being married to somebody should never be a burden. And of course, dating and marriage is like two different things. But if you're dating to marry, then you're kind of looking at combining your two visions into one vision. And you guys should have the same vision, because you are now working towards building a life together as one, as where you were two different individuals. So dating should kind of show you parts of a image that give you an idea of what the whole image would look like, because you're working on creating that life together, and that is your vision. That is both of your visions as one. Now, if you come to a point and you realize that this person doesn't have that same vision, or doesn't have that same drive and motivation that they used to, then that's when division comes into place. So looking at dictionary.com, di is a prefix that means two. So So if you have division and you're not on the same page while you're dating, then that is a good time to take time away, step away from the situation, analyze it and say, is this something that I feel like I can work with? Or is this something that I feel like I'm just giving too much energy to that is draining me? Because if you start to become drained from dating, then it's probably not a situation that you want to stay connected to, because you don't want your self-concept to be bonded to another person that you are already feeling drained from, if that makes any sense. Because now you're definitely staying too long at the cookout, because you have no energy for yourself, you have no energy for others, and you really have no energy for your passion. Because if you're already on two separate pages, if you're already operating on two separate wavelengths, then it's going to be harder to get that person to come onto your wavelength, because now you're literally trying to drag somebody to do the things that you want them to do. And it's not necessarily for yourself. It's like that you want them to do for themselves. But if they don't have that same vision and that motivation, then you can't force them to do that. And that is what I mean by division. That's two separate visions. With the gambler's fallacy, the explanation of it was, it can't all be bad. So we've all had situations where, we say that you're in a tough relationship or you're in a tough marriage, and you say, well, it isn't all bad. There's definitely some good there, and, the good outweighs the bad, and, just pay attention to the little things. So that's literally like being a gambler, rolling the dice, and it's like you don't know what you're going to get from day to day, and you really kind of want consistency when dealing with a relationship, when dealing with your energy levels. It's something different when you can identify what the person is going through and they're asking for help. Maybe they're not to the level of consciousness that they fully understand what's going on, but they understand that something's not right. That is something that you can work with. That is something that you can say, okay, well, since you know something's wrong, let's address it. What you can't do is when you start dealing with somebody and they are not conscious enough to understand their own emotions, and they have no emotional intelligence, and they start telling you about things that you're doing wrong, as opposed to saying, hey, well, I'm doing this wrong. If you can both say, hey, I'm doing this wrong and I'm doing this wrong, then you can begin to have a conversation. You can have a healthy, conscious relationship where you still have one vision, even though it's two people having struggles. Like, that's the difference between having struggles and having issues. If y'all got issues on top of issues, it's a problem. And struggling is just where you're struggling to find that balance. Consciousness to where you understand that you're working on the same team. Issues is y'all not even on the same team. Y'all got drama. Don't nobody want to be around you because the energy is off. Everybody's like, oh, y'all still together? That's the gambler's fallacy, when it actually leads into confirmation bias, which is believe what you want to believe. When other people start to tell you things about your situation and you say, you know what? No, that doesn't sound right because that's not us. Or you just begin to accept it and say that this is us. This is how we fight. This is how we communicate. This is how we choose to interact with each other. This is what I understand love is. And you get people like that all the time. Those relationships work for what they work for. It's because if you're a cart pusher and you go out and you push carts and one of the wheels is messed up, and you know which cart, and you know what cart that is with the wheel is messed up, and you got to drag it a little bit, and you say, well, it works for what it's supposed to work for. I push it, but it just makes it harder. It's like you're going to get to that end. You're going to get to that goal that you're trying to get at the end of the night. You're going to push that cart to where it needs to be pushed to. And it's like in a relationship, the same thing. So if you feel like you got a little spinning wheel that's like messed up, it's cracked, it's ugly, and you say, you know what? Well, it works for us. If that's the type of dysfunctional relationship that you want to work, then yeah, dysfunctional relationships work. Like, I'm organized, unorganized. Like, if y'all can see this desk right now, it doesn't look anything like my desk at home. Like, my desk at home looks crazy. Like, so I have 3 desks. So I have 2 desks in my room and then 1 desk downstairs. And I kind of made my room like my office because I need a place to go to work out like all my ideas and all the stuff that goes on with Pin Drop Discussions and Intellectual Social Club and school. It looks crazy. It looks bizarre. If anybody else went in there, they couldn't function in it. You know why? Because it's dysfunctional. It's unorganized. So if you put a functional person in a disorganized situation, it's not going to work. 2 dysfunctional people in a dysfunctional situation just might work. You want to know why? 2 negatives make a positive. I mean, it's just math. when you multiply them, because when you add them, it just equals negatives. It's two negatives just equal negatives. It's just one bigger negative. So, and then the last part is loss aversion, which we were just talking about as being in a dysfunctional relationship. And it's harmful. It's a very harmful experience, not only for those people who are watching you go through it, but it's harmful for yourself because you never know the repercussions that you are facing that you just don't see, because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow in a dysfunctional relationship. Somebody could be like, you can become mentally unstable based off of the experience that you're going through in that relationship, because that is how stress builds. That could give you a post-traumatic stress syndrome because you are experiencing something that is dysfunctional and you're rationalizing it. And now it has become a part of your identity. Now, because you think that stress is rational, and when people are telling you that it's not, you could start to become stressed from that. Because if you start analyzing it too much or looking back on it and looking back on situations and reliving situations, you can become mad. You can become angry. I've done it several times. Like, I've sat back and looked. I'm like, yo, when I dated this person, it was like, what was I thinking? And you just think about experiences. You look at pictures. You're like, wait, I thought we were happy, but we weren't. We were just doing this. We were just going through the motions. Imagine being in a dysfunctional situation for like 10, 20 plus years. And then you just thinking about the life that you missed out on and how mad you are after that. I wouldn't even say 10 to 27. Let's say 7 years. If you are in a dysfunctional relationship for over 7 years, you're tied to it. I would be stressed out from it. I don't know about anybody else, but I would look back at them like 7 years. That's a long time. 7 years ago, I was 20. Like, I remember what I was doing when I was 20. I can imagine a different me at 20. Now, if you can put that in relationship terms, if somebody can say, I've been dating this person for 7 years, or even it's hard when it's 7 months. It's like, I just wish I had those months back. But years, it's hard to get those back. The importance of love in a romantic area. It is important not to be in a dysfunctional relationship. The best way to check in and see if it's dysfunctional is obviously to have a community of people around you that you love, that you trust, that know you. Have relationship counselors. If you're serious about your relationship, continue to see people that can tell you both. Not one person, but they can tell you both about your relationship, that you both trust, that you're both comfortable with, open up and being completely honest with. Like, if you're cheating, if you're doing whatever, just whatever, you need to be able to open up and tell this person that you're comfortable with. Like, I feel like in a relationship, you both should talk to the same person. Like, it's cool. You got as a man, what I'm saying? I have my boys. I talk to my boys. Girls, they talk to their girls. I mean, there's some girls that I do talk to occasionally, but I try not to, because it ends up becoming something like pillow talk. And, pillow talk travels, even though it happens, quote unquote, in a bedroom, because it's like a pillow. The idea of pillow talking is essentially just sharing something intimate with somebody that you're comfortable with in a comfortable setting. So it could be anywhere, and it can become pillow talk. And pillow talk does not just stay wherever it's at. Pillow talk, because pillow talk is interesting. It's like, oh, you said what? People would really listen to pillow talk. I believe there's movies based off of pillow talk. Like, somebody somewhere is like scratching their head, like, yo, I said this in the comforts of such and such. Why you go out there and tell people this? When you pillow talking, especially with people of the opposite sex, be careful, especially with people of the same sex, because people like to talk. Boom, there you go. Your information is all out there. So, and to sum it up, the importance of romance. You have the gambler's fallacy, confirmation bias, and loss aversion. In these elements, you just want to make sure that you're reaching out, talking to people. People understand the dynamics of your relationship. If you're both dysfunctional and you're functioning in a dysfunctional relationship and y'all are comfortable with that, still talk to somebody. Like, just allow them to know how dysfunctional you are. And, because that could work for some people. But for those of us who are functional and are trying to be functional and trying to be functional members of society, talk to people, have a functional counselor that you discuss your issues with, your concerns with, that you both feel comfortable with, because it takes a village. not just to raise a child, but also to have a relationship. St. Aug homecoming this week. Woot woot. Yeah, I look forward to, doing more Facebook Lives. Look forward to doing more YouTube Lives. You can find us anywhere by Googling Pin Drop Discussions. We're on Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, Patreon. We're on everything. Everything, literally. iHeartRadio, Spotify. And we're working on continuing to grow. So just keep your eyes open. Keep us plugged in. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts. So, hope you guys are enjoying it so far. This has been Tyler Parker, and you are tuned in to Pin Drop Discussion.